What's up, everybody? We are back with episode 5 of the Pantsless Podcast, and with me here are the usual suspects: North, Trevor, and Mac. Wait. We had Sully. Sully was on here last time, and he was the newest, freshest member, and somehow I don't know what the fuck has happened. Where is Sully, and who the fuck are you?
I don't know, man. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I think Sully just shaved his beard is all.
That's probably it.
Is this
And
Sully?
dyed his hair.
Is this Sully in disguise?
I'm a less handsome Sully.
Oh, okay.
That is an extremely fancy drink you have there, Trevor.
Yeah.
Can we see that again? Before you just casually pull out a margarita on us?
It's a margarita.
That's how we start off this shit over here. But yeah, Gradigi's back. It was only just one episode that Sully was on because of Anthem. To answer, obviously, the hottest question, if we're going to talk about the Kotaku article of Anthem, no, we're not going to talk about it because it would be citing an article which is boring as shit. You can go read the article yourself. I mean, and I've railed on Anthem for far too many times at this point. But in more exciting news, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was officially unveiled. So let's watch the trailer for that. Let me just pull it up here like that, and go here and here. Get ready, buckle up.
Wasn't always like this. But now, there are 3 rules to survive. Don't stand out. Accept the past. Trust no one. The galaxy's changed. Look out! Whatever you do, don't reach within. Don't stand out. Accept the past.
Execute Order 66.
Trust no one. Trust only in the Force.
Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my god. I hear myself on a loop somewhere.
Probably me.
That's okay. That was the new trailer. Now let me kill the hype for everybody. It's a single player game. It's already confirmed that it has no multiplayer and no microtransactions. Do not fucking pre-order this game. We literally saw nothing. Nothing. That was a story trailer. that almost gave nothing away from the story. And it can be whatever. Like, we literally don't know what that is. I already pre-ordered the collector's edition.
No, I didn't. That's actually the first time I've seen that trailer.
Oh, really?
I didn't see I didn't watch that yet.
Okay. What'd you guys think of it, by the way?
Go ahead.
I mean, it's a pretty trailer, but
Yeah.
like you said, that it doesn't really show what the game's going to be like. I'm assuming you're going to play as that guy, but that's about all I can get from that.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what I pulled from it too. It is going to be a Star Wars game. That's it. That's the only information we got. Like it seems like it's going to be set in like where the current canon is.
It's supposed to set like right after episode 3.
You mean episode 6?
No, episode 3.
So, okay. Between Return of the Sith and Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'll pass.
I mean, yeah.
It's kind of weird that they wanted to make like a single player game, but then they're like celebrating that it's not gonna have microtransactions. By the way, it's gonna be awesome. like
I mean,
why would you have them? It's a single player game. What are you gonna pay for? Like, I don't know, cosmetics, more damage in the game. Why would you buy more damage in single player game? Like, I don't see the appeal.
Yeah.
North, you need to speak louder.
Oh,
I think they were just trying to, at least from what I gather, they were just trying to throw all that out at one time. Like they're not, like it's not like people already knew it was a single player game, and then they're like, oh, also by the way, there's no microtransactions. They were just throwing it all out at one time, just so there was no confusion or anything like that.
Yeah.
You see that? I think it's stupid that we live in this day and age where companies come out and they announce that, by the way, our company doesn't have microtransactions. And that's something that people celebrate. It's like, whoa, fucking second coming of Christ or some shit here. Like, this game must be good. But honestly, like, I know people have a lot of faith in Respawn. They have a pretty good track record with Apex and then Titanfall 1 and 2. Specifically, probably number 2, because I mean it's mostly revered for its single player campaign. So a lot of people have a lot of trust in this project, and obviously it being Star Wars, it fuels that trust. But let's not forget what happened to Star Wars Battlefront 2, what happened to Anthem, and every other fucking EA product that has come out in recent years. Let's not forget that we're talking about EA here.
I'm gonna look forward to seeing the sliding mechanic or the wall slide, because I'm pretty sure if it's Respawn, they're probably gonna implement it in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they actually, taking that in mind, we did actually see one bit of what could be gameplay. And that's like where it's still in the cinematic, but it could be construed as gameplay. It was where he was like sliding across that thing, and then he reached out and bent the bridge down and jumped on it. That was a wall run.
Yeah.
So.
But one game mechanic cannot save an entire game.
Yeah. But I at least hope the maneuverability is gonna be at least as good as it's on Apex, because it's really good. So
honestly, like I think the game will either live or die on its combat system and story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
unrelated.
What?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's really just funny in general, like how, like, I wonder what, like, behind the scenes, like, what are they telling people? Like, if they have to sit there and say, hey, how are we going to promote this? And they're like, you know what? Let's tell them that we're not doing what we do with every other game that we make. Like, what's their motto behind the scenes of like making these games and stuff? Like, let's just make something that fucking no one likes, everyone hates it, but let's just do it because it makes us money.
I hope they make I hope they make the game a real difficult game, like I don't know, Sekiro, and implement that in there. That would be funny to see.
God damn.
Yeah.
Also, the guy who plays the main guy in that game is the same guy who is an actor on the US version of Shameless.
He's also on Gotham.
That is true.
I was
That
going to
is true.
ask, tangent, that I don't think needs to be a whole discussion. What do you guys think about whenever they get a voice actor and then they like face map, like they put that actor or actress into the movie? Or into the, not in the movie, but into the video game. Like that is obviously, it's voiced by him. It is obviously supposed to look identical to him. I think it's weird.
No, no.
I don't
like
see anything wrong with it, as long as it doesn't appear on multiple games or multiple.
Yeah.
Like it would be
Like
funny
the-
to see Sekiro's face on or something else. And I'm talking about Sekiro now all the time because I can't wait to talk about it.
I think like a game that basically epitomizes what you were talking about is Until Dawn. Like they hired actors to play, and like they're all mapped exactly how they are and everything. And
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's pretty cool because I don't know. If you're a fan of the actor or actress, then you're kind of playing as someone that you're a fan of, as well as the character that they're playing. So,
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a legitimate question. I'm definitely not trying to dog it. It's just something that is becoming more and more common in recent years, and I just was curious what everyone thought of it.
Especially in
wondering
big budget games.
Yes,
I wonder if it's easier for them to just like map the actor's face as they're making the emotions and stuff like that than it is to like
Probably.
start from scratch or have another person's face match their tone and their voice.
I mean, they don't have to create a character. They'll just hire some A-list dude off the list, and then that's your character. Here we're gonna have like, I don't know, Jason Statham be the new Jedi guy.
right, and
Just
that's
put, what's that?
well, I was gonna say that like what you said, it's like Jason Statham. That's kind of where the issue arises for me, is like because it is cool to like see the actual actors in the games, but at the same time it's like, am I really playing as this Jedi, or am I playing as the dude from Shameless?
Well, yeah. I mean, it has to come down to like his performance, and if he's believable enough to be whatever this Star Wars character's name is.
It's like what's it called? What's that game where you're the killer?
Hitman.
Like
Literally most games.
there's a killer and then like 5 survivors that are trying to get away.
Oh, Dead by Daylight.
Dead by
Dead by
Daylight.
Daylight.
Yeah.
The new character. Are you playing as Ash Williams, or are you playing as Bruce Campbell acting as Ash Williams?
Yeah.
Now we're going. This is too meta for me. I mean,
Either way,
Bruce Campbell is as Ash, though. I think Bruce Campbell knows that he's Ash.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Star Wars. It comes out sometime this year. If you want to play it, play it. I hope it's a good game. I don't wish that games are bad ever. I just wish that people will stop pre-ordering and get burned at the same time.
I think they're doing like taking a step in the right direction and kind of stepping away from the microtransactions though, and doing something a little different than what they normally do. So
Yeah, we can hope for that.
a step in the right direction at least.
Okay. Joe, you have something to say, right?
Oh yeah. Wait, is it the Reggie thing?
Yeah. Let's have a little golf clap for Reggie.
Yeah, for Reggie Fils-Aimé. Today is his last day, and let's have a little.
A little
He
golf clap.
he knew how to tug at the heartstrings, because today, not only is it his last day, he finally decided to make a Twitter, and he, within 2 hours, not only was he verified, he also got 106,000 followers in his first 2 hours.
Not bad.
Yeah. Now he's up to 221,000, and he only has 3 posts.
I mean, I can't be mad at the guy.
Yeah. His last post was his like original E3 badge from his first introduction in 2004, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah, I could actually show it here. Oh shit, show it please. So this is the it's from the Legends.
Yeah.
The Legend started here. My badge from E3 2004. My name is Reggie. Oh,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
It
That's
is
really cool.
But
That's
Those
awesome
that
that
don't
he actually
know.
kept it.
Yeah,
I
I
would
mean-
not have. Look at all those badges and stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the shit you collect though.
Yeah. For those that don't know, I'm a gigantic fanboy. It was actually like, it actually legitimately made me sad when he announced his retirement.
Yeah, it made a lot of people sad. I mean, even though I'm not a Nintendo fan, I don't own I have no Nintendo console, and I haven't really played any Nintendo games in like 20 plus years. I still understand and recognize Reggie's influence and the work he's done for Nintendo, and undoubtedly it's been huge. And he's been a huge part of like Nintendo's kind of resurgence after some downtime, and really brought Nintendo back into a legitimate competitor in the kind of console market.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that with him like joining Nintendo as the president of America, I think that Nintendo is always kind of, in a way, defining, or at least helping push gaming forward. And it's just a shame that he's going, and the pretty like Nintendo's big 3 it's down to just one now, because it's just Miyamoto left after Iwata passed away. So it's definitely getting slim. They're losing more and more of their dream team.
Yeah, I mean, we have to see. Like, I hope Nintendo would continue to do what they've done thus far, in the way they market themselves and what they like put out and how they treat gamers. I think Nintendo as a company really respects their audience, which is, I should not have to say that, because every company should respect their audience, but unfortunately we live in this time and age where we celebrate things that should be there already. And it's weird.
Yeah.
But I do hope Nintendo continues the way that they've done things, because they're even though I don't play Nintendo games, I recognize that they're a very a respectable company with respectable people.
Yeah, and like you said, they really, really do like listen to what their fans want. Just like, I think their most recent show of that is Smash Brothers Ultimate, because everyone always complains about they have to take people out, and years and years and years Nintendo has said that they just can't put everybody in it. It's too big a project, and then people just kept saying, we want everybody, so that's what they did. They said that what was impossible, and then they just did it. So, there's not. I don't think that many other game companies would put that many resources and go that out of their way to make sure that their fans are happy.
Yeah, but it was great success.
Yeah. And that's what happens. You have companies like Nintendo that dump millions of dollars and hundreds of man hours into a giant project like that, and it's a massive success. And then you have companies like EA that dump hundreds of man hours and millions of dollars into a flop because they wanted to get that extra 69 cents for a skin. So
yeah.
unfortunately, that model works with some games, and then they try to implement that same model into every game.
Right.
Yeah.
Where they don't realize that the people who play FIFA are not the same people who play Battlefield.
Right.
But what do I know? I'm not even in marketing. I'm just a scrub, you know?
Just a scrub.
Okay, shall we move on to like actual topics? I mean, not that these were not actual topics, but never has our welcome section taken a half an hour.
That's fine.
Yeah, to be fair, we only have a couple topics, so.
Yeah, even though we have a couple of, like, this is mainly for people listening, even though we have only a couple of topics, I do think that the topics are big enough that the show will not be shorter in any way. But yeah, let's talk about Google Stadia. And I don't know jack shit about it. I do know something about it. But Joe knows something about it.
I do know something about it. I know that unless Google can pull out some kind of genie, can like literally reach into their own bowels and like pull out some kind of magic internet hardware genie, that it's not, there's no way that this is going to do anything.
We were talking about Google Stadia right before the podcast with Tom and Trevor, and like I think it's not gonna be possible right now, but in a few years, after like G5 connection is implemented on most of the areas, it should be able to run it. That's just my opinion, but
I mean, so to fill everyone in on what exactly Google Stadia is, a lot of people have been essentially what it's boiling down to for a lot of people as far as a description is that it's Netflix but for video games, which isn't totally incorrect, except there's a lot more that you have to worry about with video games than Netflix. But that's a pretty good gist of it. So essentially, Google's wanting to start some a cloud storage for essentially any game you could want to play through their store. And you don't get a console, you don't have to buy hardware, you don't even have to install software if you don't want to. It can be run through the browser. And you just go through a list of their games, pick a game, and without downloading anything, you just start playing. Because it plays off of their back end. The only thing is you just have to stream. Essentially, you're streaming the video to your computer.
I was comparing it to like Steam Link. It's like having Steam Link on your TV, but instead you don't have to have that PC on the other room to put all the stuff in and run the game on. You just have it on their hardware. And you just plug it in basically to your TV, and then you can play.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
What kind of hardware do they have that they can just do that with who knows how
Google.
many?
Well,
they probably have everything.
It's true.
And that's the thing, is like that's what I've discussed it with a couple buddies. So I work for an ISP, so I know how many internet issues people have. I just don't like the idea, and I get that it's the same for any game that is always online, but I don't like the idea of paying for a service that, granted, we don't know how much it's going to cost yet, but I don't want Google to decide when I can and cannot play my video games. That's, for me, that is my biggest argument against it, is like, if for some reason Google's doing maintenance or whatever, and I want to play, apparently only Assassin's Creed Odyssey, then I can't play it. Or, and I know that they have their own fiber network. Google is their own infrastructure and backbone, but even knowing all that stuff, or even having all of that stuff, they can still get flooded. I mean, if they don't have their services provisioned right or something like that, they could still experience latency on their stuff. And it may not be from bandwidth through the internet. It could be hardware latency. And I'm sure that they'll get it fixed as they get it upgraded and things sorted. But I think for a little while, Google Stadia is not really going to work.
Yeah, even I've tried Steam Link. I played Dark Souls on it, and it was like the latency from this room to the other room was so considerable that it was hard to play it.
Yeah.
Like, it was when you have to be on point, and you can't do it if there's like 100 millisecond latency. Like you just can't do it.
Yeah. Well, and then they also have a controller, which is kind of nice, except it's just like, it's basically a PlayStation controller with an Xbox layout. Pretty sure the buttons on it are the same like coloring or like labeling as an Xbox controller.
Apparently it also feels like an Xbox One X controller or Xbox One S controller.
It's got like the bulk and build of an Xbox controller, but both the analog sticks are on the bottom. So it's basically the love child of a PS2 and an Xbox controller.
I'm gonna try to find
I can link you the article.
Oh, I have the article. I'm just trying to find like well, that works. New tab.
So the issue with the controller, and they haven't really told much about the controller, just like they haven't told us much about anything else. They haven't said if the controller can actually be used for anything else. But we do know that the way it interacts with Google Stadia is that the controller also works over the internet. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So the controller connects to your Wi-Fi and then communicates with Google's servers, and that's how you play it. So it's not actually like connected to your computer or your phone or your tablet, whatever. It's going all the way back to Google's servers, increasing the amount of latency because now you've got a wireless controller that is literally on the wireless, not just wirelessly connected to your computer.
You can, however, plug it in a USB-C.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you use it with a PC, for instance, so you can hook the controller to the PC and through Google Chrome play your games with your PC.
Yeah, and I know that you can use other controllers too, but as far as like, it just seems really weird the way that controller's wireless works. It seems not optimal, but it's Google, so maybe they'll get it figured out. There was one more thing. Of course, we don't know. The only game we know is... Oh, I was actually going to talk about the one cool thing that they did, and I thought it was awesome. They showed off that you'll be able to use like any platform that basically can play video will be able to play Google Stadia. So they showed like I think at first it was a laptop, and then they picked up the controller for the laptop, played it some, and then they went over to a cell phone, and they picked up the cell phone and started playing Odyssey on it. And they put the cell phone down, and then they went over to a tablet, and they picked up the tablet and started playing on it. And then they were like, and we found like the worst computer we could find. And then they picked up a controller, hooked up to that computer, and started playing again. And each time it picked up right where they left off on the other device.
That's cool.
So I thought that was pretty sick. And that's nice, but like if you're playing anything that requires low latency, you're still going to get farted on.
Yeah. So basically, unless you're living in a basement of a Google servers, it's not gonna be worth it for now. We'll see how the future.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think that on paper this sounds fucking amazing, but
yeah,
if it succeeds or fails, is probably not the biggest point here for Google. I believe that even if it fails horribly, they still have put time and effort into research and development of this. So this will be the future. The question is the future now, or is it down the line a few years from this? But I do wholeheartedly believe that this will be the future. I mean, we talked about, like, or the games industry has talked about cloud gaming for years at this point, but it always comes down to the latency. Like, if you can't get the latency down, then you can't fucking play those games. And once they get that, so I believe then the technology exists for cloud gaming. So once they get rid of that latency, however way they do that, then cloud gaming will take over. I mean, this is what I believe.
Technically, they could, for instance, if they say it's like it works now and it's like fully developed, they could basically rent out their servers or like cables to, like, I don't know, PlayStation or Xbox, and they could use the same system.
Yeah, I mean, I
they
hope...
don't have to like create their own servers to run the cloud-based gaming. They could just rent out some Google servers and use them.
Yeah. I think I have no doubt that Google will be able to get it functioning how they want it to. I think that they'll eventually be able to get the latency down to a playable level. I have no doubt, because Google basically has unlimited money. I mean, they have unlimited resources, very nearly. So I think if there's a company that could do it, it is them. But at what point is it too much effort? Like, at what point are they just going to be like, you know what, we've got to spend another $100,000 or another, it'd be way more than that, another $5 million to figure out how to shave, our latency down under 100 milliseconds. Is it really worth it? And I think that's the point it's going to get to with Google. Because like I said, having as much money as they have, they can buy whatever hardware they need. They're their own ISP. I mean, they have the resources for it, but the question is whether or not they're going to want to dump their resources into it.
Science is not about why. It's about why not.
Yeah, and they could like wait for like another 5 years. Maybe we will make some sort of internet evolution or something that would make it easier to drop down latency, so they don't have to put all that effort, and it would be more natural transfer to cloud-based gaming.
Yeah, and I mean, the issue is that, and a lot of people don't really think about it, and it's only because I'm in a unique position of working for an ISP, but there's a lot of stuff that you just can't control. I mean, they don't, if everyone had internet from Google, then it would be no problem for them to do that, because they control every variable along the way. But if you've ever run like a trace route to see the path between your location, like where you're at physically, and like any website, you're going to see IP addresses, and then you're going to see other web addresses. And very nearly every time you see that web address, that URL change, that's hitting another internet service provider. So to get from like me to Google, I probably bounced through 5 or 6 other routers owned by other companies just for me to get to Google. So they can't really control every aspect of it. And that's why, I mean, if they're really willing to sink the resources into it, especially whenever there's so many variables they can't control.
They should just buy out all the ISPs.
Yeah. Oh, please no.
Yeah, thanks, North. North just wants me out of a job. That's fine. I'll just buy us out and shut us down.
Then.
Just work at Google.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Just work at Google. Yeah, why not?
I probably would be way sicker.
Have you seen their offices? They're pretty sick.
Yeah, it is awesome. They had like a slide in the middle of their room, dude. Sometimes I'm lucky if I get like a bottle of water and they have a slide. Great.
Yeah.
So Chad is asking if you could just play Google Play games. So no.
Wow. We don't know that.
Well, yeah, we don't know, but one game that has been announced to be a launch title is Doom Eternal. It's the one game that is confirmed to be on Google Stadia on launch, which means that Doom Eternal is coming out this year. It does not have a release date, but this confirms that it's coming out this year.
The only other game we know Doom Eternal, and we know Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That's the only lineup we know. So what they haven't told us, there's a lot of stuff they haven't told us. They haven't told us, and again, this is I'm probably the only person in the podcast that has thought about it. They haven't told us like bandwidth requirements to like recommended bandwidth that you need to use it. They haven't given us a price range. They haven't given us like even an estimated release date other than this year. So there's definitely a lot of stuff we don't know.
Oh yeah.
Who's gonna bite the bullet and get the system?
So if say that it worked fine, say they figured it out, they just magic or whatever. What would you think would be the price point for it? And say I don't know what games, so we're just gonna say it has a decent selection.
Okay. Well, I know that Origin. How much is the Origin Prime?
See, it would have to be subscription based.
Right, it would almost have to be subscription based. There's no it would have to be. Let me see how much Origin Access is, because I mean it would have to be. I feel like it would almost have to be a lot.
No, like
I estimated like 20, 25.
Yeah, I would be between the 20, 30 per month.
Yeah.
100
reference.
100 for 1 year for Origin Prime.
Yeah. Origin Premier is $15 a month, and that gets you everything on their list and early access. So I would think that it would almost have to be between the $20 and $30.
I mean, higher than that, then people just are not gonna take it.
Yeah.
Like say it's $50 per month, that people are just not gonna do it. And I feel like $30 can even be a huge price point for people to just like put down $30 per month to use an untested system, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only way that it'll get its feet off the ground is if they do like a launch price special. So like for the first year of Stadia's existence, it's only like $10 a month or something. I mean, they're going to have to do that because so many people are so skeptical that, I mean, you're going to have to do something to entice them.
Mm.
Yeah, and if you're the first company to make a cloud-based gaming, you will set a firm foothold in the field. So it will be a lot harder for PlayStation or Xbox to try to tap in that market.
Oh, it is also important to note that Google Stadia is not just a platform. The same day they announced Stadia Development, which is like their first party game development team or studio. So they are also going to have Google Stadia exclusives made by Google Stadia.
Yikes.
The game dev side of that is headed by Jade Raymond. She is primarily known as the executive producer for Ubisoft games, among others like Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs. So I mean, she's been in the games industry, and Chad is saying that she's not cheap. Yeah, probably not. She comes probably with a pretty big salary, and yeah, I would think that Google, like Gradigy already said, that Google has near infinite amounts of money. So I mean, they probably are hiring a lot of high-end developers and people who have the technical know-how to fucking make this work. And the game side, I mean, if they're gonna develop games or not, or how many, who knows? I mean, Google is still it's a profit-seeking company. So if the games they release are not selling well enough, or they're just shit games, then they're probably gonna shut the studio down. Primarily, I think that they want to get Stadia up and running, so other third-party developers and publishers look at it and use it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Any more on Stadia?
It's pretty much all I've got. Like I said, they've definitely at this point there's definitely more questions than there are answers. They've teased us with a lot of information, but they haven't really given us any information.
So technically, the same thing applies as for the Star Wars game. Dude, I'm fucking pre-order. Wait and see how it turns out to be.
I mean, even more with this, like I really feel that if it's cheap to get when it launches, then try it out, test it out. Otherwise, I would if you're not like a hardcore kind of into technology or games or whatever, then just let other people like try it out and hash the problems out and report on everything. I mean, it's not really a secret anymore that when new technological products come out, the masses are the beta testers. Because a lot of the times that new technology is so massive that you can't beta test it with 100 people. Like, and the best beta test is to have, I don't know, 5 million people test it out and automatically send reports of it. Yeah, I mean, like Fallout, like games are a little bit different though. I mean, games have QA testers for obvious reasons.
Do they?
I mean,
they should, but do they?
Damn, you guys really want me to like hate on EA again? Like I can feel it. Like, please, Tom, please do it, Tom. Okay, sure, fine. I wish I knew a beta tester that worked on Anthem. I wish I knew. Like I really did. Like as of right now, on like what's come out is that Anthem was made in about a year and a half before release. And you can't make Anthem in a year or a year and a half. You can't do that. That's why the game is shit.
Well,
so
that's why they have a roadmap so they can space out additional
of course.
development.
I mean, yeah, of course. So the 6 years development time that Anthem had is just bullshit. They were dicking around for 5 years and then they released the motherfucker.
No, we're still in the 5-year development cycle. You must have missed that part. We're in the middle. We're in the middle of it. You just didn't see the end of the roadmap in 2024.
Damn. I need to look closer. I need to shit. I mean, fuck. This is why I'm not a journalist. You know, I miss out on the important details.
It's the little things. You know, you got to read between the lines.
Yeah, man. But yeah, with Stadia, like. It comes out probably when this year, if Google just keeps their promises. And when it comes down, a lot of people are going to look at Stadia really fucking closely. And there's probably going to be a bunch of different results on whatever, like latency or performance or whatever. So it'll be probably a hectic 1 month, like during its release.
If Stadia ends up being like an utter failure, do you think would be I don't know, for lack of a better word, morally correct to give them shit about it not be working out, or do you think it's something that they should be commended on for trying to take the step that way in the first place?
I think it's a little bit different with Stadia because there is not a cloud-based gaming system right now. In this like caliber, so I'm more expecting it to fail than to succeed, just based on that fact that this sort of thing doesn't exist yet. And I mean, sure, I'll shit on it a little bit, but like a good shit.
Yeah, I feel like. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think I feel the same way. Like, even if it came out and there was just huge latency and problems, and everyone's like, "It's not worth it," and we're not there yet. I don't think that they should be criticized just to say Fallout 76 degree, because it is something that's like brand new and never been done before, and there's going to be fuck ups until you finally get it right, basically. So that's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing that company like Google is like, hey, we like games. Should we design something that we like or we want to do? Like, they could do anything they wanted, and they decide, let's make a cloud-based gaming. Like, this is where we're gonna put our funds. Like, they could focus on anything else, and they decided this is the thing we want to do. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think people should be a little more lax on it, because like with with other things, like someone said Fallout 76, we bashed on it and lots of people bashed on it, but that formula is written. It's not tough to follow that formula, so it's okay to criticize them, because they have experience, and that has been done, and it's been successful. Where with this, Google is trying something completely out of left field. It's something completely new that no one knows what to expect with it. So I know that people are going to be ruthlessly assholes, but I do think that they probably need a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more forgiveness in really trying to test the waters on this.
But sure, if the product doesn't work, let's say the interface doesn't work, the games don't launch, the system is just crashing, or latency is above like 500 milliseconds, then sure, I'll shit on it really fucking hard because it's untested at that point. Like there's a difference between a tested product that has minor bugs or issues, or just other like technical issues within itself, compared to a game like Fallout 76 that was just outright broken.
Right. I think it all depends on, unfortunately, we're not going to know until it happens, and it all depends on two things: the nature of the issues that they're having and how they handle those issues. Because if it's something like super easily avoidable, like they didn't realize that you could just press enter with no password and you log in. that if it's something that stupid, like some Windows 98 type garbage, then that's one thing. And just depending on how they handle it, like 76, where it almost seemed like they were trying to blame the players for what was wrong with the game. If Google handles it like that, then it's going to be poor. It all depends on the nature of the situation and how they handle the problem. Because I think one of the biggest things that's going to happen, and it happens every time a WoW expansion comes out, and I think that's exactly what's going to be happening for the first week of Stadia, is that they're going to have huge server lag because they couldn't have anticipated this many people. And that's exactly what happens every time. And I shit on WoW every time an expat comes out because we couldn't have expected this many people. Ow! You have subscription. I won't get into that. But I feel like Google is going to go the same way. That they're going to be like, well, we didn't know that this was going to be that popular. You're Google, dude!
We didn't know people cared!
I can talk about lawnmowers upstairs, and then when I come downstairs to my computer, there'll be lawnmower ads. They know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Atlas was finally like launched after like putting it off for like a few days, and it was literally unplayable. Like I remember watching some streams. I never tried the game out myself, but it was horrible for the past week. I bet it.
That's just because Atlas developers are absolute fucking garbage people.
Why?
I mean, they're pretty bad. I'm not gonna go into it. So yeah, Google Stadia comes out later this year. No release date, no price point, no nothing really. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. Who knows? It's all up to chance. Let's flip a coin. Woo!
Not even Google knows.
Sounds awesome, though.
On paper, it sounds really cool. But okay, dudes. Shall we talk about a game?
What game is it?
Which one?
We're gonna talk about... We're gonna talk about.
Wait, are we talking about that, or are we talking about the storefront thing next?
We're gonna talk about the game first.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about the Division 2. No, wait, Sekiro.
Oh, dang! Because I played the Division 2. I thought I've not played Sekiro.
Oh man. So yeah, Sekiro is awesome. I'm just gonna come out of the gate and say that it's one of the best games I've ever played in my life, and my opinion is very, very biased against Sekiro right now. So let's go from that.
Pretty intense.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good game. I don't know about all that, but it's definitely a really good game.
Are you challenging my opinion?
Well, I guess not. It's probably not the best game you've ever played.
What?
All I'm saying is you play bad games, Tomolo. Dead Cells is garbage too. No, I'm just joking.
What?
Gosh, he'd joke that he'd get on a flight if I said that.
Garbage Hat has a legitimate question.
Tell us what you hate about the game? Shoo-wee. Let me think.
I mean, the game's not perfect. No game is perfect.
It's too hard.
Let's not go into that just yet. Just hold on. Like, North is trying to jump the gun. Trevor's trying to jump the gun. Joe asked if we're going to talk about storefronts. This is the last thing. Everybody's jumping the gun. I'm going to start talking about E3, boys. I'm jumping the gun the hardest here.
I'm trying to... I had a legitimate complaint about it that just, like, burned my biscuits. Someone else go. Someone else say what they hate about the game.
Oh, well.
As the person with the most hours into it.
Oh, by the way, everybody listening, we're gonna try to keep this as spoiler free as possible, meaning that we're not gonna talk about specific bosses, areas, or how the story goes, or anything of that nature. We're gonna try to keep it as in general, or as vague as possible, but still talking about the game.
Yeah, what do I hate about the game? I played the game for like 100 hours now. I've completed it 7 times. I really can't say that I have anything that I would really, really hate. Like, fighting is sometimes hard, but it's not impossible, and it's something that you shouldn't like hate on, because it's mostly like if something is like super hard, it's probably my fault. If something is fucked up, it's probably my fault too, because I did not like send the right commands. But in like the story or like how the game works, there's really nothing that I would actually like legitimately hate on. It's well-made game, and I'm gonna be surprised if it doesn't win any Game of the Year awards.
I mean, I think as of right now, like if unless something else pretty amazing comes out, it's probably going to get Game of the Year. I mean, you still got another half a year to go, so.
Nah, the year's over. Let's just skip it.
Yeah.
PlayStation doesn't have any first-party announced titles, so they'll probably give it to them.
That's actually a good point. Days Gone is the only one coming out. Kingdom Hearts is not gonna win, that's for sure.
No.
And Days Gone is not gonna win, that's for fucking sure. And that's PlayStation for this year. Because they already told that they're not gonna be on E3, they just kind of skipped this year. But yeah, Sekiro is really good. I mean, the gameplay is super fucking tight. The combat system is... For somebody who has played Dark Souls, they probably think the combat is boring and one-sided because you can't be a naked mage or a dude who wields a hammer twice the size of your own body. But still, I think the combat system is one of the best overall I've ever played. It's super fluid, it's responsive, it fucking works, and if I die because I was shit. I mean, at no point in the game did I blame the game for my shortcomings or when I had a difficult time. But
Don't get me wrong. I totally blame the game every time I do something that I fuck up. I'm gonna play the game.
yeah,
your fault.
it's fucking lag.
Yeah, fucking lag. Damn Google Stadia with the latency issues.
Already, dude. I knew it.
Like, I don't know how would you be able to play that game on Google Stadia? Like,
You
I
wouldn't.
have a hard time, like, right now, pressing the button. I see it coming, and I still miss it. Like, add 100 millisecond latency to it, and then I'm gonna miss always. Like, there's no chance.
You just gotta see the future, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotta have some complaint about this. If I can't
I've watched
say
you
it,
play though. I've watched you play, and you get super frustrated.
I do get super frustrated, but that doesn't. I mean, that's me. I can't like. Yeah, I hate the archers. That's not like even not including my rage quit about those fucking archers. I think archers are the dumbest things in those games and in Dark Souls games. I think archers are the dumbest thing. But that's just me. Like I can't say that it's a huge flaw in the game because they're easy to deal with. They're just annoying. I think archers are dumb because one arrow can kill you. Like the one arrow won't directly kill you. But thank you, Ranger, my man. But like if you're in the middle and you're like, especially in Sekiro, you're like you're sword fighting with one guy, you're parrying off another guy, and all of a sudden the dude's 6 miles away, hits you in the foot with an arrow, you get staggered, and then you die. And that's the same thing in all those Dark Souls games. So there you go, Gorb. I hate archers. Archers can go fuck themselves.
See, that's why you gotta stealth kill everything. Come on,
Look. That's probably true. But they saw me, dude. They see you anyway. Archers suck.
And like I get that people like for me in my playthrough I essentially stealth killed everything, including bosses. Like you can't stealth kill like the bosses to death, but for a lot of, especially in the mini bosses, there are ways that you can get them down 50% of health very easily. Might I add. So for me, the stealth system in the game is it's essential. I mean, because you can pretty much stealth kill everything. I very rarely had combats where I fought more than one enemy at the time because of that. And I think the stealth system works really fucking well in the game too.
Yeah, I had no problem. Like I still haven't beat the game. I'm still, at some point, and I don't know exactly where. But I never had a problem, or I'll say a big problem, with like just the normal enemies that are around. Like I can stealth kill them, or just fight 2 or 3 of them at one time. That's no problem. I always had a problem with the bigger bosses, and it just seemed like I don't want to sit here and say like it's the game's fault, because obviously, like you said, if I input wrong, then I get hit and then I die. But it seemed like a lot of the bosses, you have to be almost perfect the entire run to beat them, because if you like stagger, or if you like miss hit one time, they'll hit you twice and you're dead. And it just seemed like that was kind of a very annoying mechanic of the game, of like, oh, I fucked up once, I'm dead.
Yeah, the game doesn't wait for you. And in my opinion, it's like a Dance Dance Revolution game, but it's 3D, and
I was actually thinking of Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah, and instead of like having like the notes going like this and you know what to press, you have to read the character. And once you like start to like understand how it works, it gets a lot easier. Like you have to like play over and over again, because it's a very different kind of game. It doesn't really tell you how to like approach the enemies. But once you get like it sort of like clicks to you. Once you do it over and over again, you start to learn what kind of patterns do they have. You learn to use the blocks in different way, and you start to find those holes where you can actually attack and where you should move and try to get away from the walls and all that kind of stuff. But it definitely just boils down to doing it over and over and again. That is what you have to do.
I mean, I think that's, fine if you want to do that. But like for a lot of people don't have 4 hours to fight one boss.
Yeah.
Just in like the real life world, and it.
I'm sorry, everyone. Shit.
Up.
Are we back?
What the hell was that?
I think Discord died.
Everyone died. Yeah.
I thought I died.
Yeah.
Everyone died besides me. I was here alone. That was one man show for a second there.
I think Discord just had a hiccup.
Yeah.
Just in case. What
was the last thing people heard me say?
I think that was the last thing you said.
Yeah. Well, anyway, what I was saying was
Oh, you said that that some people don't have 4 hours to dedicate to a boss.
Yeah, like people some people have say full-time jobs. So they don't have that 4 hours they can spend to learn this one boss's moves to beat him. And so basically the game is making it to where people like that don't have that time, just can't play the game.
I have a full-time job. I beat the game.
Trevor,
well, some people.
If you don't have 4 hours to dedicate to that boss, then that is not the game you want to play.
Yeah.
I wish Sully wasn't here.
Yeah, but then again, that's very bad business practices.
Oh, definitely.
To have a game.
From Software knows. They must know.
I don't think it's a bad business. I feel all right. Let's not, because that's getting into the other discussion.
Well, probably yeah.
But no, I think I get what you're saying for sure. And it is tough because that's like you almost have to get a chunk of time set aside for just a boss. Like if I wanted to go fight one boss, I almost feel like sometimes I've got to dedicate an evening. I'll say the very first boss you fight, so there's no spoilers. But it's like, all right, I guess it's a Saturday night. I guess I'll go fight Jinichiro for 6 hours.
Yeah, man.
Not that long, but that's for some people it might have, and it did take me a solid 3 or 4 to beat that particular boss for sure.
Yeah, I was stuck on one of the bosses for good 6 hours, and I know a lot of people had hard time on different bosses, but eventually you're gonna hit that one boss that you have really hard time beating, and you do it over and over again for until you get it right. But after that, it's gonna be a lot easier, because if you beat one boss, it's gonna if you're gonna have a hard time on beating one boss, it's gonna force you to learn different kind of mechanics and read the character. What are they gonna do? How are you should act on that moment. And some of them are reusable, and I think that is what makes it sort of hard. Here we are tapping into the other category again, but I like that they have unique attack patterns. So if you learn this guy's attack pattern, it doesn't necessarily mean you learn anything new for the future. It's still gonna be hard when you fight another boss that has completely different timings, different patterns, different weaknesses. And I think that's what it makes it a great game, but also it makes it utterly difficult, because it always gets harder and you never really learn something new.
Yeah, I think that I'm perfectly fine with the game being difficult, and for those people that really want to put all the time into being I'm playing this game at its hardest, I guess you would say, and beating it, and they have that accomplishment feeling and everything. I feel perfectly fine like having that in there and whatnot. But I just think that the game should be able to cater to some people that want to still get the story and the gameplay, and not have to just, spend their entire life doing it.
Yeah, I get that.
On the other end, though, Sekiro is it is a very good game. Aside from the battles or its difficulty or whatever, the combat mechanic is fucking rock solid. Exploration is rewarded, and I can't stress enough how much I enjoy exploring an area and sometimes finding hidden sub-areas that are completely optional to do. I fucking love that style of game. That's why I love Hollow Knight, and why I think Hollow Knight is one of the greatest games ever made. And the stealth system in the game is good. It works, even though people complain that enemies see you from impossible angles. No, shut the fuck up, you're doing stealth wrong. I've played the motherfucking game. I know stealth works. Jesus shit. It's because you're walking straight towards the fucker. Of course he sees you. Jesus Christ. Go around, maybe. Fucking backstab. Jesus shit. I mean, some of the complaints that people have about Sekiro are just ridiculous.
I'll say with as I'm complaining about how difficult the bosses are and stuff, I definitely got mad and, slammed my fist on my desk a few times, but I kept playing until I beat the boss, or until I beat the boss next day, kind of thing. So it does it's even if you are playing the same thing over and over, it still is pretty engaging and fun. Yeah,
well, and I feel like what keeps it fresh as to why it doesn't bother more people, I should say, to continually go after that boss is the same reason that people like roguelikes. At no point, you can fight a boss 20 different times, and that boss is going to come at you 20 different ways. I mean, you can't just go in and keep throwing the same thing and okay, I have to get better at attacking 3 times, blocking, then attacking 3 times, because that's the rotation. That is going to get you killed if you try to go into a boss fight like that. And I think that's why, even though you are technically doing the same part of the game for hours, that's why it's so easily done. It's so easy to do the same part for hours, because even though it is the same, it's also very different. It's a different experience every time you go in.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the replayability of the game. It's after you explored everything and you completed the game, let's say once, you can still go and explore more if you miss some areas. There's still items you can get that you can't get on the first playthrough. You just can't do everything on the first playthrough. You have to play at least twice to get something. So that's one thing. You should always play at least twice. And I've played it multiple times, and I find the boss battles that they're very satisfying. Blocking, attacking. It's like meditation at some point when you're in the zone. Sometimes the battle can take up to 7 minutes or even more, and it's so amazing. Nothing compares to that.
Yeah, getting a perfect fight on a boss fight, it feels really nice when you get those blocks in, you get those perfect parries, you get those fucking Mikiri counters, and you get those, you deflect those perilous attacks the right way, and look what the enemy does. And when he does a little sweepy sweep, you jumpy jump. When he does a little thrusty thrust, you do a Mikiri counter. Or when he does a little choppy chop, you just block, and that's it. But when you get them, it feels good.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you like Dark Souls, or Bloodborne, that doesn't really matter because Sekiro is a whole different game. But if you like From Software and I don't know, I guess if you like Dark Souls or Bloodborne, maybe try out Sekiro. I absolutely hate Dark Souls myself and haven't played Bloodborne, and I think Sekiro is one of the best games I've ever played, so there's that.
I think one thing to...
Yep, go ahead.
I was going to say one thing I like about it is, unlike Bloodborne and Dark Souls and stuff, there's either a boss or a mini-boss around every corner in the game. Like, you can't go into an area without there being some sort of boss in the area. And I actually do like that, like, because it makes it to where, like, almost every area is a challenge. Like, you're not just going to, run through an area and this be like, oh, well, there's a boss at the very end or whatever. Like, you're going to fight 2 or 3 mini bosses before you get to the boss.
Yeah. I think that and that's what I was, whenever it first came out, the first weekend I played it, that was absolutely one of my favorite things, was running across all the randomly placed generals and stuff, because it was like, oh, I'm just fighting through a bunch of goblins, basically. These guys are just going to fall over whenever I hit them. And the first time I ran across one, I didn't even realize it was the first one I noticed was Yamauchi. And I was just mowing dudes down, and then he was like, hey, what are you doing? And hit me for like half my health bar, and I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? Why do you have 2 dots? and it was awesome. Like, it was even for a mini boss, it was like a 2-minute fight with me parrying this guy, and I didn't get the 1 dot off with his stealth attack, and we were just going back and forth. And he wasn't a boss, he was just some rando tough guy, but I mean I enjoyed it so much that I remember his name, and I've only fought him once.
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend Sekiro, but you should approach the game in a different way. You shouldn't like, oh, it's From Software, it's gonna be like Dark Souls. So you should not think of anything about the game. Just go in the game and let the game take you all the way. Like there's nothing that compares to that. You just have to have that blank canvas and let the game painting for you.
It's definitely not Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's definitely not that. And I don't think there's anything like that. Just go in and let the game take you there.
Yeah. The one piece of advice that I have for anyone trying it for the first time is don't compare yourself to other people, because everybody plays that game a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Like Tum, North, and Trevor, we've all struggled and beat different bosses at different varying amounts. Like, some of the bosses that I thought was the easiest, I remember North and Tumalo, both of you guys said, like, the lady. I'm not going to say any more than that. I know that a lot of people struggled with the lady, like, hardcore. And I didn't that much. I beat her in, like, 10 tries. Which sounds like a lot, but for that game, that's not really. For some of those bosses, 10 tries is on the low side. So that, there's and then like with the boss that Trevor just beat, the big angry one. A lot of people struggle with that pretty bad too. But then, like, I had a buddy who beat the blazing guy on his second try. Second try in, he went in there and killed him. But then he gets to another boss, and they just whip the floor with him. So it's like, everyone plays it a little bit different. You're going to have that boss that you struggle like 50, 60 times on. Sometimes that guy uses a bow.
Fuck that bow.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Fuck that bow.
It all makes sense now. I hate archers. Jinichiro killed me 50 times. That son of a bitch.
So think about the boss that has given you the most trouble, and how many times do you think that you fought against that boss? You don't have to name the boss, just...
Oh no, 3 days.
Yeah.
That many tries.
I already did, and it was 50. It literally was 50 or 60 tries to kill Jinichiro.
6 hours averaging, and average life being like, I don't know, 3 minutes. That's a lot of tries. I don't know, like
hour wise, but
maybe.
I struggled
I
with
think
the
that-
last boss in the game. Took me about 3 days to finish him off.
I think my hardest so far was probably about 50 tries.
Yeah. And that seems to be, I don't know if it's a coincidence or if everyone's just picking that number because it's a nice even number, but right around 50 is about where everyone kind of hits their plateau on boss attempts.
I made a compilation video of mine, so it's about 50.
Oh, nice, nice.
So you know the accurate figure. Okay.
All right, Sekiro is awesome, and yeah, everyone should probably play it because it has no multiplayer and no microtransactions, and we should celebrate that because it is a unique game in games. But with Sekiro, a discussion has arisen that has pretty much only two polar opposites. Those are for who are either angry or not angry, and it's with Sekiro being a From Software game, it's obviously what people consider a difficult game, and that has prompted people into this discussion of difficulty in games, and that's what we're going to talk about now with Sekiro. The discussion pretty much sparked from should Sekiro have an easy mode? Now, raise of hands, who here thinks Sekiro needs an easy mode? Oh, there.
Trevor
Okay.
did have.
Trevor lagged out a little bit, but I saw your hand, Trevor.
Yeah, his hand did go up.
Okay, so I want to make my own stance clear before I piss off people. I don't think Sekiro needs an easy mode, but if people are willing to mod their own game into having an easy mode, then go ahead. I mean, on a little anecdote,
When I say that I think it needs an easy mode, I'm not saying that I want an easy mode, by the way, because I'm perfectly fine playing it the way it is. So, just so to clear that up, so people don't think I'm sitting there saying like it's too hard
yeah,
for me
so
to
that
play.
people don't think you're a pussy.
Yeah. No, I'm fine playing it the way it is. I think it needs an easy mode for other people, basically, and kind of for some of the reasons I said earlier.
And see, I understand that. I do understand that. Where I draw the line is, I don't think From Software needs to put in that easy mode. I think if you bought the game yourself, then go ahead, do whatever you want to do it with it. If you want to download the easy mode patch, then fucking do it. I don't think From Software should put that easy mode in there.
Yeah, it's. I would like compare it to like a painting. Like, I made this painting of Mona Lisa, and some guy comes and looks at it like, I bet she looks better if I would draw some glasses on her. Like, that's technically what it is. This is the painting, and you want to make something like modify it. If you buy the painting, you can do whatever you want to it. Technically, you can take it home and put some pair of glasses on her if you want to.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But this discussion and
that's sort
Yeah, go
of a
ahead.
good analogy, but not really. Like, because when you buy, say, a painting, you know what you're buying. You're like, oh, I'm buying this painting. I can see it. When people are buying Sekiro, maybe now might be a different story, but at least when it came out, they don't know exactly how difficult the game's going to be.
Yeah, but they do
you
know it's from.
If you hear the game's the most difficult game in the world, and they go out and go, well, I'm going to go buy it anyway, and then they complain it's too difficult, that might be a little different. Or a little different, not a little difficult.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do understand that it because like you might not know what you're getting into, but I don't think we should take into consideration that people might not know what they're getting into. I mean, if you go into a restaurant and you order like a very spicy meal, and nobody tells you that this is, by the way, really fucking spicy, and you're still buying it, and then you get it in front of you and you burn your mouth and your asshole with that, and then you start complaining that what the fuck is this shit? Like, why is this spicy? I eat spicy food, but not this spicy. And then the waiter's like, well, it's like the hottest sauce we have here. Like, what the fuck? Should that person also be catered then? How would that person know what they're getting into? I feel like a game like Sekiro that is released by a company that primarily is known for making difficult games. If you're going into that game and be like, this is gonna be like Kirby, then you kind of have to blame yourself.
Usually food at restaurants have different levels that you get to choose from how hot you want it.
Yeah, well, okay, what level would you put to Sekiro? This is level 8 on the difficulty scale.
Easy. He wants to put it at easy level.
Well,
That's already been discussed.
I would say, like, for the bosses, Sekiro is probably one of the most difficult games, if not the most difficult game, other than maybe the shitty NES games that are impossible to beat. But in recent times, it's probably one of the most difficult games there is. Just because, you know, what other game do you spend 3 days on one enemy? You know?
But
I mean, yeah, I mean, it was fucking difficult. It was difficult too. But for me, that 3 days was never truly frustrating. I mean, North and Sully probably heard me rage a lot, but it's still, every time I fought that boss, I tried to learn something about the boss. Like, the hardest struggle I had with that particular boss was to get the timing right on the attacks, because it was like no other boss. It was just fucking fast. So I had to grind that shit, and that's what I did.
But this comes to like how you play the game. For instance, I learned that timing is very important at very early in the game. So I didn't have that much trouble at that point of the game because I learned that mechanic a little bit earlier. You probably overcame the same obstacles, but with the from a different perspective. But I wouldn't say that Sekiro, like, I know it's hard, but still, why is it hard? What makes it so hard? Is it that it's not something that you ever played before? Is it because you're like super underhanded compared to the AI, or what are you given to? Do you do
I would say
less damage?
some people just probably aren't as, I don't know the word, like, coordinated to keep up with the AI, no matter what. They can sit there and play it 3 days, and they're just never going to beat the boss just because they're not capable of doing it. So then they just bought a game that they can't beat because they're just not capable. They're just not capable of doing it.
Yeah, they're like physically not able to do it. But then again, it comes to repetition, and that is where you like compensate for your lack of reflexes, for instance. Like, I know we talked about this game with Sully, and like how sometimes the reflexes are not enough. Like, even if you see that one flinch in the screen and you know it's coming and you can't react to it, and then it just comes to learning the repetition, know when to expect when it's coming. You can expect what's the attack gonna be, so you know that you're technically still have overhand over the AI if you do play the game a lot, because you know it's coming before it's coming.
I honestly,
It's still gonna be hard. That's gonna be hard to expect something that you don't know for sure it's coming, but you're still expecting it.
honestly, I don't think anybody is unable to beat the game, like, legitimately.
Yeah, I would take back what I said with that. I don't think anyone would be just unless they're just physically, like, you know, missing fingers or something like.
Well, if you're just playing with thumbs, then you don't win.
Yeah, I don't think anyone. But I don't think everyone has the time to be able to like put in the repetitions for 3 days to beat that boss kind of thing. At least they're not able to do that and still come out enjoying the game.
Yeah.
I think people that, spend, say, I would say that us four are probably pretty decent gamers when it comes to skills. If you take someone that has like a little bit less skill, they're going to take even longer than the 3 days it took you to beat the last boss. They say it takes them 2 weeks. Well, by the end of 2 weeks, they're probably won't even make it to 2 weeks. They'll probably just be like, well, fuck this game. It's just too hard for me.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
think
sure, but I would still come back to like it. I would still kind of blame the consumer at that point, because there are tools for the consumer to make sure that they're buying a product that they might enjoy. You don't have to look too far. You can look at reviews that already state that the game is difficult. You can do your own research. Like, if you choose to go blind into a game without knowing anything, then you're kind of shooting your own foot. Like, there has to be some sort of responsibility on the consumer when you are putting money down for a product, any product. I'm not just talking about games, I'm talking about anything. Like, I very fucking rarely buy anything without doing research, because I've been burned in the past, so I refuse to be burned again. So I research the shit before I buy it, and then I choose to either buy or not buy.
No.
Yeah, and like I said, if they wanted to do that and say, well, we're not going to make it easy mode or whatever, and we're catering to this set of people, then that's their prerogative. They could do that. I just think that's bad business practices at that point, because then they're just denying a wider range of customer then.
Well, technically, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree that a lack of time is a reasonable excuse, only because there are much longer games. Even if you are bad at Sekiro, like maybe you've never really played like, and I feel like we have the advantage in that a lot of us have played more difficult games, so we do have a little bit better reflexes than someone like playing their first Soulsborne after they've played Kirby for the last 20 years. But I don't believe that time is a reasonable thing to account for, because there are games that people dump thousands of hours into. And now, granted, that's not going to be the same people that may not be the same people that play Sekiro, but that I don't think that that's a reason that it would take too long to beat should be a reason that Sekiro should be made, that any game in general should be made easier.
Yeah,
I don't think it's taken too long to beat. I think, say, I don't know, like The Witcher 3 or Persona 5 or something. That's a pretty long game, 100 plus hours. Sure. But you're making progress the entire time, or should be. And when you're getting stuck on a boss for 3 days, you may like mentally be making some progress with the boss, but you're not like story-wise, like in the game, making any progress, which would be a huge deterrent to make people want to keep playing.
Yeah,
Right.
but then again, it's made for like a group of gamers, technically, for that specific group who want to challenge a new challenge from a video game. Same for like Google Stadia. They make a huge risk, technically, that they make a cloud-based gaming, because not everyone has a super fast internet. They make that product for a certain group who have capabilities of accessing a very fast internet connection, and it's gonna limit from another group of people that don't have that.
And I mean, I know people are talking about accessibility and catering to a bigger audience, or making quote unquote the right business decisions and all that. And they're valid points. Like, I get those points and I understand them, and I may even agree with some of them. But at the end of the day, From Software decided to make this game the way they wanted to make it. And they released that game. And what pisses me off personally, mostly, is that people are screaming at From Software that From Software needs to put an easy mode into the game because they want an easy mode into the game. Because I don't believe that From Software needs to do jack shit. They're the company. If they don't want to put an easy mode and lose a ton of money on it, then they have the right to do that. Like, could they make $1 billion more with an easy mode? Maybe. Who the fuck knows? Maybe Sekiro would have been the best-selling game of all time with an easy mode. Who knows? But From Software chooses to make their games in a specific way, and it just doesn't have an easy mode.
I think it's hard to make Sekiro easier. Like, how would you make it? You would have probably more health, more posture. But
I mean,
then
the mod slowed down enemies, so you have more reaction time.
Yeah, but for instance, I have
There's a bunch of
very
little
hard.
things you could do.
I have very hard time with enemies that have slow attacks. Like fast attacks, I can tap tap tap. That's it. But when it's like slow, I know it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. But is it there yet? No, not yet. And then it comes. Like those are the attacks that I've struggled a lot. But maybe for someone else, it might be a lot easier than reacting to those fast ones.
I don't think that they like have to put an easy mode in. Like that's not my argument at all. Like that, like people are demanding it, so you have to do it. My thing is like I think that it would just be a smart move for them to do it, because the only thing it would do is cater to a wider audience, and the people that don't want to play easy mode don't play it. And like someone just said in the chat, like you don't have to play it. Like, but the people that want an easy mode, they're forced to have to play hard mode basically. So, I don't know.
And see, I get that. I get that it would be the right thing to do business wise. My argument is just that From Software made the conscious business decision to not cater to a wider audience. Now, if they are losing money because of it, then that's their problem. Like, because it's their product, they can do whatever the fuck they want with that. If it's a good or bad business decision is I mean, we will never know because the game will never have an easy mode.
But imagine if the game was like significantly easier. You can by this time you can run the game through in like very fast speedruns.
30 minutes.
An hour. Yeah. Yeah.
I saw one today that was like 26 minutes. And
oh shit! New world record.
Yeah, at least 26.
You can go through the game very fast, but the difficulty makes it a lot longer, and also I think that is like the salt of the game. That is the core of the game, the difficulty and the learning process. And it would not be, in my opinion, a very good game. Well, it would be a good game, but like not this good game unless it would be difficult.
I have a question for you. So what would you guys say to people that were like, we want a hard mode?
There is a hard mode.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't beat it, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's not really a spoiler because it's something you have to turn on in the game, but there's actually like a hidden path that leads to a bell that you gong, and it gives every enemy more health and every enemy does more damage.
There's an actual hard mode.
There's actual hard mode.
Is there an actual
You're talking
hard
about the kitty hard mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 2 hard modes.
Yeah. The actual,
Apparently.
I can spoil the real hard
It's
mode.
not really a spoiler.
Yeah. In the real hard mode, you have to do something in order to trigger it at the beginning of a new game. And after that, you have to perfect block every single hit. Or if you do a normal block, you're still gonna take damage, but it's reduced damage. So every time you take hit, if you normal block, you're gonna still take damage. But if you perfect block, you don't take any damage. So you can't just be like holding block all the time because you're gonna die. Like you have to be on point.
The actual hard mode is like something I would not play with in Sekiro probably ever.
I actually enjoy it a lot. I've 6 playthroughs with it. I like it.
I mean, what it really boils down to is what Tumalo said, in that it's the vision that they had. And I know that you could just add easy mode in and people would still have the hard mode, but we're focusing a lot around Sekiro because it's the thing that popped it up, but it's called Shadows Die Twice. What if you don't die at all? Then the game's just wrong. Like
Yeah,
there's
I don't think it
one
should be that easy, where you just
Right,
have no
but-
challenge.
But there's one part in it, and this is actually a very minor spoiler, that someone says to your character, he's like, how many times have you given your body because of me? Once? Twice? Maybe a number we can't even count. And then you can start to think about it. It's like, how many times have I died getting here? Like, how many times has Sekiro given his life for this other character? But if it's easy and you only die a handful of times getting to that point, it's a really less impactful scene.
Yeah.
And you're, as you progress maybe a third of the way probably through the game, your character's real ambitions are kind of revealed, and even that would be, the impact of that would be lessened if you didn't die all the time. And if you played it, like, I know that people are saying, well, I want easy mode because I want to experience the story. I want to experience Sekiro. Everyone's telling me how good the story is. I want to experience it. Well, guess what? By playing in easy mode, the story lessens itself. Like, it's less impactful that you're dying a million times for this guy because you didn't. You're playing easy mode. You died maybe once a boss. It's less impactful, his grand scheme, because it's easy. So there's a lot of things in that game in particular that are stripped away because you're not dying all the time. Because you didn't give blood, sweat, and tears into this game and put all that. Some of the story points do actually mean less if you die less. And that's my TED Talk. Thanks for coming.
Okay. Okay.
That was good.
It's still though, like, if somebody owns the game themselves and they want the easy mode, you can go ahead and just mod it in. Fun fact though, if you own the game on Steam, you don't own the game, you're just licensing it, so be careful. But like in the end, like I get the argument that I get your argument, Trevor, and it's your argument is very valid. Of course it's valid because we're talking about business and what's good business and bad business. But even like without Sekiro being this game, the same discussion has been done with Dark Souls, with Cuphead, and then we have games like Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy that is specifically designed to make you rage, and those games just exist. Like, all games are not meant for every gamer. Like, it's not just games, it's a lot of different things. Like, all movies are not made for people who just like to watch movies. And all music is not made for everybody who listens to music. And I mean...
I think it makes it, like, memorable. Everybody knows those games. Oh, it's that one hard game that everyone struggles on, or something like that.
I mean, From Software definitely has the reputation that they're making.
Yeah.
They make hard games, even though that's probably not necessarily true considering their entire history. But they're mainly known from Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Sekiro.
And in my opinion, if the game would be easier, or the standard difficulty would be easier, it would be less impactful, and then the game would not be so noticed, I guess. Like, there wouldn't be that fuss around the game right now if it would be easier.
Right.
And I think that's why they made the right business decision by making it harder than having it, like, easier. But of course, it's wrong to people who don't have time to spend hours and hours on grinding on bosses and stuff like that. But I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you don't have the time to learn it, I don't know. Maybe you should
Don't play it.
Your game experience
Fuck off.
from somewhere else. Yeah.
If that is not what you want to do, then you do not want to play that game.
Yeah, man.
So the most perplexing thing about this to me is that games have been hard for as long as there have been games. Games have been difficult since the dawn of man because they were meant to kill you over and over. Because then you got to put another quarter in. Like what about Sekiro has made this huge revolution about us? Like I didn't hear anyone. Cuphead was what everyone talked about how difficult Cuphead was, but I never heard any calls for an easy mode in Cuphead.
Cuphead has an easy mode, by the way.
What's the easy mode in Cuphead?
It gates off a portion of the game.
Oh, so is it like all the hard bosses not fightable?
No, there's a couple of bosses you can't access if you play on easy mode.
Oh my gosh, they're winning.
But in my opinion, when I first started my gaming career, when I was about that tall, and I started playing like Crash, for instance, Crash 1. It's a very difficult game. But then they realized that it might be like a little bit too difficult. So they made another game and another game and another game, and they became easier and easier to appeal to more masses, like a game for kids. So everyone wants this, and it's a lot easier to get into. So now we're at a point where we don't want easy games anymore. We want harder. We want challenges, because this is where we've come to now.
I mean, nothing has changed here. Like, literally nothing has changed.
The only thing that's changed is the player base, and it's interesting that you mentioned Crash, because now that you mention that, whenever Crash, what is it, Reloaded, whatever the re-trilogy is,
just came out,
people did bitch about that being too hard.
Yeah, I remember that too.
But no one was like, and I guess because it's a PS1 game, it's less viable, but I don't remember anyone being like, that bridge in Crash is too hard.
Yeah, me neither.
Go and remake that, but easier.
I beat that shit as a kid. I sure as shit can beat it now. I just need to buy the fucking game. I'm gonna buy it after the podcast and fucking record everything and put it on YouTube and never die once and see how fucking easy it is.
Yeah, but if you put like, I don't know, like 5 hours tops on video games per week, you don't want to play Crash 1 or some difficult game.
Well, then you don't play that. Then you play something else.
Yeah, but it's like you get the more people probably spend less time on games. What at least I do. So you want to pick those easy games or easier games. And now I totally lost my train.
Well, then you pick those easier games. Like nobody's forcing you to play Crash, and nobody's forcing you to play Sekiro. If you want an easy game to play, then you research an easy game to play. Like this is what I'm talking about: consumer responsibility. You can't fall dead when something doesn't go your way and bitch about it. Like, have some backbone at least and do some sort of research. Like, if you don't have the time to play games and you want to sit down and play a game and beat it in like 2 sittings, then I can recommend a slew of games that you can do that on. They're not hard games and anybody can play them. They're story-driven games or whatever. Like, you can do that research yourself. But like I said, like if you go in completely blind with Cuphead or Sekiro or getting over Benefati or Hollow Knight or whatever, like it's probably going to be a little bit difficult. But I do think that it's your own fault. I do believe that. I wholeheartedly believe that.
What it boils down to is that it sucks that you can't experience those games because they don't have an easy mode.
Yeah.
but that difficulty is part of the experience. It sucks, and I really honestly believe, and we discussed it a little bit the other night, like a week ago, that half coordinated, the speedrunner who only has one functioning hand, he listed like this huge thing about accessibility, and in my opinion, that is the only viable counter argument to just needing to get good, is that there are some unfortunate people that have physical disabilities or mental disabilities even, that just cannot play those type of games, and it really truly sucks that they can't. Like one woman in his thread said that she didn't have any physical disabilities, but she actually had a mental disability where it took her like a full second to like process information. So she has like a neurological something where it actually takes her an entire second to really process information. So she can't really play games like that, and that sucks for that person. But I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do in that situation, and that is really the only, in my opinion, the only valid argument as towards putting easy modes in.
Yeah, but it's still, especially on Sekiro, in my opinion, it's very hard to make it easier. It would have to be like a significant reduced damage or something like that. Like, I think the speeding up and slowing down is the wrong way. It's, in my opinion, that's cheating. Like, you would want to have the game speed at the same level and maybe have like I don't know, a lot more posture and a lot more health. That would be the ideal case, or more healing items or something like that.
I mean, you don't even have to think about it. The mod exists already. Anybody can download the easy mode mod and beat the final boss, and not spend 3 days like me on the fucker. I mean, he was difficult. I want to see you, Joe, try to play it and not get frustrated in like 3 seconds.
Well, I don't know when that's gonna happen. Are you gonna get me all liquored up first?
I'm just hoping to catch a glimpse of it, because I know that will be the point where you probably put the game down forever.
I don't know. It's the game isn't really that. I mean, compared to like the other Soulsborne, and I know that you're like, oh, it's not Soulsborne. I don't like Soulsborne, but it is. I mean, what it boils down to is it's that type of game. And it compared to those, I really don't think it's that much harder than other games in that vein.
See, I don't think Sekiro is difficult in the first place. I think the final boss is the difficult thing in the game. The difficulty is like here, and when you reach the final boss, the difficulty goes like this. Like it's immense.
Like the just the normal enemies and shit, like those guys, all of those so far are like super easy, because you can just basically almost sneak up on everyone. And basically I think it's just the bosses that basically, like you were saying, like the game's going like this, and then the boss jumps up, and then the difficulty goes back down, then the boss jumps up, goes back down. So I think it's mainly just boss fights that are obviously they're boss fights, you know, they're supposed to be more difficult, but I think that they're like at a scale, I guess is what the way I would say it. I guess like Bloodborne and Dark Souls and stuff, their bosses are harder than just the regular enemies and stuff, but you know, I would say that the Sekiro bosses, you just have to be more perfect with your timing. Like you have to be perfect, and with like those games, you don't really have to be perfect. You can be actually kind of sloppy and still, you know, beat them. But
yeah, it's fun to see how like Tom experienced the difficulty throughout the game. For me, it was like 1/3 of the way I hit like huge wall, and then once I overcame it, it started like plateauing. It didn't get any harder or easier. It was the same basically after that.
mm-hmm.
But I'm still like, even after playing it over and over again, it's not easier, but it's not harder. It just basically boils down to like execution and not making mistakes. but it's one hell of a game.
So Too Long Didn't Read version is Sekiro's difficult, games are difficult, and everyone wants an easy mode, but nobody can get an easy mode, and nothing will change, and we'll have the same discussion after the next From Software game.
Yeah.
But in the interest of time, I think we move on.
I can agree with that.
So, we talked about Epic and their storefront back in like January, I think, or February. And during that time, we ended that discussion with, I believe it was Joe who said, more storefronts means more competition, means the consumer wins in the end. And right now,
right.
I mean, yeah, that's how capitalism works, right?
Ideally.
Ideally, yeah. But that's not how this version of capitalism works. So Epic has been on the hate train, or people have been on the hate train towards Epic. And Epic has entered the shit list of a lot of players because of their exclusive deals and their frankly kind of insulting way of doing business. And how publishers and developers are catering to Epic in the interest of making a very, very quick, huge buck. So everybody probably knows at this point that Epic has a lot of Epic exclusives, which usually are games that are only on the Epic Store, and then about a year after that they come to Steam or various other platforms or whatever, excluding consoles, of course, but we're talking about PC. And there has been a lot of exclusives and a lot of big, high-profile exclusives. So the ones already released was The Division 2 was not on Steam, but The Division 2 was on Ubisoft's own storefront, so kind of like meh, but it's also on Epic. Another big was Metro Exodus, and recently Borderlands 3 got announced that it has a 6-month Epic exclusive, which after it will come to Steam and whatnot. And other bigger games, the PS4 exclusives, Detroit Become Human and other. What's the developer who makes those?
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain is, yeah. What's the company's name? Quantic Dream. That's the one. So Quantic Dream's PS4 exclusives are coming to Epic exclusively, because of course they are. Other than that, there's just a bunch of indie games. Like Journey is coming to PC now. Hades is on Epic, and Dauntless is. Control is coming to Epic only. Control is made by Remedy, who made Max Payne. And then we have Ashen, which kind of failed already, and Anno 1800 is. What?
I didn't know Ashen was out.
Oh yeah, Ashen came out.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of just like random indie games that are getting the exclusive deal. And reportedly, some of these developers are getting upwards to like $2 million for their exclusive deal. So for a small indie team, that might be very fucking tempting to take, considering that battling the cesspool that is Steam's small indie titles is probably not a thing that they want to do. Like, what was the last thing they reported, that every day there's like dozens of games released on Steam, amounting to like a few hundred games released on Steam every year. So like getting your game noticed is probably very difficult.
Yeah, that is probably what is also appealing on Epic Games, or because there's not a lot of games.
Yeah.
But I don't still quite understand how it works. Like I still have trouble like navigating through it. Like why is this game on top of the list and this game is in the bottom? Like
Because it's the one they want you to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Why
The store is shit.
Why does this require more attention than the other one?
Like let's be real clear. The storefront is shit. It lacks basic features, and it was undoubtedly put out because they wanted it announced at the Game Awards or some shit.
Yeah, it might have worked like before they tried to add more games to it. Like they had maybe like I don't know 10 games there. It works then because you can have basically everything on the front page. But now
It has a search bar now, though.
Oh,
It has had a
Wait.
search bar for a while already.
nice.
But I'm gonna show you guys, and also everybody listening and or watching. I mean, those listening can't obviously see, but this is the Epic Store roadmap. The cynicism cannot be higher that a consumer software needs a roadmap. It's weird. But I've been following the kind of the hate that the Epic Store gets for a while now. And a lot of the missing features that people want in the product can be found right here at this roadmap, like a shopping cart or wish lists or regional pricing or, achievements and stuff.
Offline mode.
And all that. And
Right now, it's just so bare bones.
Yeah.
And you can tell, I mean, maybe they just haven't implemented it. Maybe they will eventually. But having a lack of a review system just tells me that they have zero faith in their products.
See, I believe that the real reason they don't have a review system right now is because they know how much people hate Epic Store. Every game would get review bombed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Which I mean, that's probably a noteworthy thing here. Steam recently put out their response to review bombing, essentially, where consumers don't see those ratings when a game gets review bombed, which I feel is a really good implementation of Steam. Because, for instance, when Borderlands 3 got announced that it's going to be an Epic exclusive, Borderlands 2 got review bombed. Now, when people are voicing their opinions with review bombing older games, that doesn't really tell anything about the game. The game quality hasn't gone down. So I get that they might not have any other place to voice their opinions because, I mean, clearly you cannot talk to developers because they don't respond to anything. So reaching out on Twitter or Reddit or Facebook or whatever, it's shouting to a void. Like nobody gives a shit what we think. So probably the only thing to do is to review bomb games. But the Steam implementation that filters out what they call the unusual review activity, I think is a good addition. Because sometimes the review system is it's fucked.
Does it also give you like ability to make an like off-topic review?
I mean, any topic, any review can be whatever. You just have to own the game.
Yeah, but like if you're like saying like, oh, I'm sad because this is from now on Epic Games exclusive, and you would mark it as off-topic review, so it wouldn't like actually matter on the review.
Oh, I don't know. Probably not. Because the review system there is to review the game you played.
Yeah.
It's not a forum. Which is probably the reason why they implemented this.
Yeah.
But all in all, this storefront discussion has gone to the point where we are, as a gaming community, we're celebrating games that are on Steam at this point, which is it's insane. Recently, Bethesda announced that their games are coming to Steam, but obviously they're gonna be on Bethesda's own launcher, which I've never even downloaded, and I don't know if it works. They had some major security issues, but maybe it works now. On security issues too, Epic is still to this day accused of having really shoddy security on their launcher, and also accused of being a spyware for the Chinese government. Now, anybody can put on a tinfoil hat. I'm not trying to dispute any of these claims because obviously I don't know. But there's just misinformation. Like when I had two-factor authentication on my Epic account, I still saw comments on Reddit saying that they don't have the option to have two-factor authentication, which is just flat out wrong. I don't think Epic Store's security is any worse than any other store's security. Granted, I'm not a software security engineer, so what the fuck do I know? The only thing I know is anything is hackable.
Yeah, and it definitely seems like people are like making false accusations in a way. Like just to say something and someone like picks it up. Oh, I heard this one thing, and they go and write it on the Reddit, and next thing it's all over the place. Like that's what's gonna happen. Like, misinformation in the internet is a curse.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I have against it, I don't have a problem with having another launcher. I just feel like with how many games they are putting on there that are even sequels to other games, just kind of feels, I don't know, just feels dirty. It feels like they're holding some of these games hostage.
I mean, they are. That's literally what they're doing.
Well, so I'm really torn because I'm super against it because that's how I feel. But on the other hand, Epic is free. So they're not really. It's not like they're asking for anything other than like me as a consumer to download these products.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
And they also give you a free game every 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, also that. Some pretty good games too.
Yeah.
I think it's weird that no one's like getting mad at the actual like publishers of the games too, because it's a two-way street. Like they're making a backdoor deal to be put on Epic, and like everyone's just like, well, fuck Epic. Borderlands 3 is going to Epic. Fuck Epic. Don't fuck, Gearbox over here or anything.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's just weird that like people just look at Epic side of the thing and they don't even consider like, oh, well, they got paid to put their shit on Epic, so.
I mean, there's definitely that side too. Like, if you go on Twitter on any developer's like page where they announce their Epic exclusivity, the first 100 comments are something about people pirating the game, just as a fuck you to the developer.
But can you really blame the developer and the company wanting to make money?
No.
Can you really blame them for taking the deal? I would.
I definitely don't think so, especially because they're cutting. Like, doesn't Epic only take like 12% or something instead of 30%?
Yeah, they have something ridiculous like.
And I get why you would want to do that. 88 is bigger than 70, but if you get 88% of half the sales because it's on a platform that no one likes, I mean, did you really get anything?
But do you really like? How big percentage is the amount of people that just don't buy the game just because it's on there? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
The game, they're still gonna buy the game regardless where it is.
Yeah, I think like there has to be a dip, just because Steam has been around forever, and they have a huge user base of people that are nobodies. They're not on social media crying about this. They might not even know that Epic has a storefront, and they're the people who they just buy random games and play them. They might not be invested into the games industry as I am, for instance. So, and just because Steam's user base is just so huge, Epic cannot expect to get those same sales.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes, and I'm pretty sure I said that last time too. But I mean, I don't know. I just don't. I know that Epic has done like a lot of shady dealings, and I do like that they're giving more money to the developer, but at the cost of like, I don't know. It almost feels like all those devs, and like I said, it's a ton of sequels. It almost feels like those devs that are putting out the sequels that are exclusive to Epic is kind of like it almost feels like they're turning their back on the community that they've already built on Steam.
Yeah, I mean, aren't they?
Well, but like I said, again, Epic is free. Like, there's nothing stopping that same community. That's why I'm so torn on it. There's nothing stopping that same community from just going to Epic and downloading it there. They're not losing any money. That's why I'm so torn on it, because on the one hand, it's like, well, fuck you for putting your thing on something I don't like, but on the other hand, that thing is still free. I can still play that game with nothing else but a different client. Yeah. But there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that is angering as well.
See, I think it's just a little ironic that people are mainly angry at Epic exclusives, where in the past people bought all their games from Steam. Like, who here can legitimately say that they used like Humble Bundle or GOG or G2A or Kingwin or any of those other services besides Steam?
I've used.
Yeah, I've actually used
I've used them. GOG. I've used them, but still, like, Steam was the place you bought most games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I take the code I got from Hundle and put it on Steam. That's so, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised that we haven't really seen a action from Steam. Like, they could easily just see all the big games coming in and make an offer to them. Like, we give whatever they're giving and this much more.
But
and we
why
also
would
have,
you?
by the way, a lot more people that have our client. So.
But why would you?
Why not?
I mean, it's already Steam. Like, that's what I mean. I'd be curious to see how many people actively buy games from Epic. Just because I think that the number of people that use Steam every single day is enough incentive that they don't need to, offer more money. It's like, well, yeah, you could go to Epic, but they only have on any given day 1 million people concurrently logged in. Last I checked, we had 13 million people concurrently logged in, or whatever the figures is. I doubt that that's anywhere near accurate on either side. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't need to give you more money, because if you come to me, you're just gonna get more money.
Yeah, but people keep taking the deals, so it's obviously not so appealing.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Borderlands 3. Like, Epic only got them for 6 months. So obviously the deal wasn't so great that they're going to stay with Epic forever. They're just,
That's a good point.
I mean, none of the Epic exclusives are there on Epic forever. Mm-hmm. I don't think, at least. I think each exclusive is a time deal.
Well, I'm sure they have contracts, but 6 months isn't that long.
Oh no, 6 months is 6 months is 6 months less than most of the deals.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I did not realize that they were all time things, because that's a horse of a different color. That's like, that completely changes how I view the deals that people are making with them, because that means that people aren't that confident in it. If they're not making them permanent exclusive, even the devs know that it could bust.
Or I don't know, maybe they just see. I think they would ask for a timed exclusive because why would you not sell your game everywhere?
I mean, you could ask that of any game that is on like one particular console. Why wouldn't you sell Mario everywhere?
Well, I mean, consoles maybe a little bit different, I think.
I mean, they could just put it on PC.
See, when you have a console, you get, if you have a PS4, every PS4 game goes for your PS4. But now on PC, every PC game doesn't go on your PC. Now you need a PC, and then you need a specific launcher. And then when you play another game, you need another specific launcher. Yeah. Like, the PlayStation doesn't have 16 different launchers. It is a PlayStation. And my PC used to be a PC, but now it's Steam and Epic.
Right. But all I'm doing is I'm telling you why you wouldn't. I mean, there's all kinds of companies that don't put it everywhere.
Oh, I know, like it. I mean, I worded it really poorly, but I word everything really poorly today, though.
So, I don't know. It's interesting that none of them are Epic, like permanent Epic exclusives.
The only one is Fortnite.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I had also heard that they guaranteed Borderlands like a figure amount, so they're gonna like buy out so many copies. Anyone else hear anything about that?
I haven't heard about that, but that would make sense, I guess.
I don't know if I heard it like as an official rumor or just what people were, or that obviously not an official rumor, that doesn't, but like as a rumor or something that someone saw. But what I had heard is that they may have promised them to buy so many copies.
Maybe that's where the money comes from what they get. Like they get the deal, you get this and this much percent of whatever we sell, and we buy, let's say, like 100,000 of your games right now off the bat.
See, I understand indie developers I can understand them very well. Like the Phoenix Point devs, admittedly they did a douchey thing. Phoenix Point is a kind of an XCOM kind of game, which is crowdfunded through Fig originally. And they got about $2 million in crowdfunding. And on that crowdfunding, they promised that the game is going to be on Steam. Now it's not. It's going to be an Epic exclusive. So what people are specifically mad about that is, what about the people who want it on Steam? Because they crowdfunded this shit. So they should get a Steam key. Now, they are going to get a Steam key 1 year after release. Which is like the ultimate thing to dick around with. They can also ask for a refund if they want to. And
well, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure. And that's where the developer I think he kind of accidentally said, because he worded it in a way that even if every single person asked for a refund and they would give the refunds, which would amount to about $2 million, they would still be in the green with the deal they got from Epic, which has to mean that Epic is giving over $2 million for a 1 year exclusive deal to that particular developer.
And that's only indie dev, right?
Yeah.
Imagine what you would get for like Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I can't assume that the deals are static. They have to be custom made, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But for instance, like company behind Epic Games, it's big. It's so big. I can see that they can pay a lot of dollars, euros and yens for those.
What was
games.
the Fortnite prize when they did that competition?
Oh, the 1 billion tournament.
Crazy. I mean, they're doing that just to give it to just people playing the game. Imagine what they're giving to people that's selling the game for them.
Yeah, I know that Tencent Inc. or whatever it's called is like the biggest business in China. It's like the largest business or corporation in China. Like they own tons and tons of money because they're also funded by the Chinese government.
Mm.
It's like they have the money to pay whatever figure Gearbox wants, technically.
Oh yeah, I mean, it almost feels like what Epic is trying to do here is to eliminate Valve from the market, which I don't think they're going to be able to do, but at the rate with the games that they get, it's harsh. And I know that there's developers out there that have come out and said that our game is not going to be an Epic exclusive. So the question is now then, okay, how much money do they need to switch their mind? Like, imagine Cyberpunk, Cyberpunk devs said that the game is not going to be on Epic. I mean, they own GOG, but that's another thing. So how much would Epic or Tencent or whatever, how much would they need to give to that developer to be like, not go to Steam? Because it seems like every deal is specifically made for that game does not end up on Steam.
Yeah. I mean, that is... I don't know why else they would be doing this so aggressively if they weren't trying to completely push Valve out of the market. I mean, that almost has to be their end goal. And of course, as a businessman, you want fewer competitors, but they're being real aggressive about it.
Yeah, and I feel that they don't have really a legitimate way to do it.
Yeah, but
no.
Is it really working though? Is it working? Like
this is what we don't know.
Wanting to do.
I mean, I would have to know the sales data of Epic Store and the user base of Epic Store, neither of which are public. So if it's working or not is just speculative.
I mean, taking into account that also the majority, unless I've just missed them completely, which is entirely possible, but the majority of these Epic exclusives in that article, they're not out yet. I mean, we don't know how these Epic exclusives are going to fare. I mean, they're... Yeah. I think probably one of the first ones we're going to see that will really tell us anything. I don't know. I think it'll probably be some of the Sony exclusives to see how those actually fare on Epic whenever they come out. I think that will probably be our real taste of how much they've succeeded in taking market share.
But those are already old games.
Right. But they're still popular. I mean, not wildly popular, but they're still critically acclaimed old games. And there's a lot of people that have probably been waiting for those that only own a PC.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
I think the biggest benchmark for like the success of Epic is going to be Outer Worlds, because it's done by a primarily PC game maker and a quite legendary PC game developer at that point. And even though a lot of people fucking hate Obsidian right now for their Epic exclusivity, I still think that in the end it probably does not matter too much, because Outer Worlds is going to be the Fallout game that we never got.
Yeah.
Yep. If the game is good enough, it doesn't really matter where you put it.
Yeah, see, I buy games on Epic. I'm too old to be angry all the time. So I choose to be angry only on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Saturdays.
And today's Monday.
I can't be angry today.
It's Tuesday.
Oh, it is. I can be angry today.
Yeah. I mean, just time will tell. And that's what it always boils down to. I mean, we'll just have to see how the exclusives actually fare. I am curious how well. Does anyone know how well? I know that it was critically acclaimed, but did Metro Exodus do pretty well?
See, there's no sales figures. And that's the norm in the games industry. There's never any sales figures. Like, even though people are saying that Anthem sold like shit and it flopped, there's still no sales figures. Like, there's pretty much only the UK retail numbers. And the UK retail numbers is not the entire market of Anthem.
Yeah.
Even, I don't care how much gamers want that to be true, but it's not.
But I think that people or like companies who took the deal, I hope they make something good with the money. Like invest it in a really, really fucking good game.
A lot of hookers and cocaine. Let's go.
Yeah, just
Okay,
go
or that.
directly to the studios.
Like I really hope they actually use it to develop a bigger game. That's all I want.
Yeah, see, and again, like, we just have to wait and see what happens. After, like, I expect like a year, maybe 2 years, when a lot of these deals have like come and gone and sales have like cooled down, a lot of these companies probably will talk to each other and just flat out ask, how much did you sell, to kind of like suss out if this was worth it or not. I mean, obviously everybody has probably like any economist employed, and they probably tell CEOs if this was worth it or not. After which, like, either like the guys on Epic have already said that they can't sustain this sort of business model forever, but they nobody on Epic's side has told anybody how long they will do this, or if, like, obviously I would assume that they're losing money if they're throwing out fucking millions, but who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a hard time for Epic Games, because Apex came out, it totally ran over Fortnite.
Remember, Apex is free though.
So is Fortnite.
Oh yeah, but I mean, Fortnite has been around for a while. A lot of streamers got a lot of money to play Apex, and it just happened to be a very good game.
Yeah, but it stuck. It's what, like, they play on TwitchCon right now. Like, there's the Twitch Rivals, and they play that game there. But I think that is Epic Games is sort of like riding still on that Fortnite wave, and it's the wave is it's at the end. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
just
see
looked at,
how many years Fortnite can actually sustain.
I just looked. They made $3 billion just from Fortnite alone last year, so
Yeah.
that's plenty to sustain them and well off to have investments. We'll say.
Yeah, a couple mil here or there. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, the thing is like you said, like Fortnite's, when it does, every game eventually does see its end. Is like, what's going to happen then when they run out of that pocket money?
Fortnite 2.
At that point, every high-level person on Epic is living the fat life on some Caribbean island on retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just in like $3 billion, it's tough for people to really like wrap their head around how much $1 billion is. But let's say that they did end up giving Borderlands 3, that gave them Gearbox $5 million for exclusive rights, which isn't I don't feel like that's out of the ballpark to say. That is less than, I mean, even if they only had $1 billion, that is half of 1% of their total funds. $5 million is half of 1% if they only had $1 billion, and they made $3 billion last year. So it is 1/6 of 1% for them to give Gearbox $5 million. 1/6 of a percent. They don't even notice. It's just like I went and bought a soda.
Yeah.
And you got to think, like, they have investors and all kinds of financial people, teams that do stuff with this money. So the money's making money.
I mean, you would hope so, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would hope so.
I think
You would
they
think
have
so.
like, I think they calculated the deal somehow that Borderlands is gonna sell this and this much. We're gonna make about this much money in 1 year exclusivity, and it has to like account at least like, I don't know, 50% of that what they're gonna give to Borderlands 3 for their exclusivity, and I'm pretty sure that's what they're like trying to figure it out and tailor the deal for the other companies and game makers.
Let's all remember though that EA also predicted that Anthem will sell 6 million copies in 6 weeks, and that did not happen.
Dang.
Is there like numbers out?
Yeah, how many
Or
copies
did
did
they
it
say
sell?
like we're just utterly disappointed about?
No, see, EA has been very quiet,
Yeah.
which makes me believe that they did not hit that target.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
usually.
We'll see on the next quarter if they have like a.
See, let's just wait for that moment when EA announces that all future plans for Anthem has been cancelled and projects have been put on ice and people have been moved to new positions.
Well, the fact that when you Google Anthem sales numbers, the most recent thing to really pop up is from like a month ago. That doesn't really bode well. In fact, the top one is Anthem is BioWare's best-selling launch after Mass Effect 3, but they don't actually give any figures. So I really...
Yeah,
Sounds legit.
the figures is the difficult part because no figures are public data, and we only get the figures the publishers want us to get. So if it's a bad launch or bad sales, we never get those sales. But I mean, we could probably put one and one together when a studio gets shut down. But when we get the good sales, that's usually when the companies just tells us, like, yeah, Apex Legends has 50 million players. Congratulations. Yeah, well, obviously they're gonna tell us that because it generates more players. But if Apex would have completely flopped, like 1,000 players the first day, and then it dipped down to like 3. There's nothing to talk about at that point.
I feel we're back to discussing Anthem, but like I feel like it's very hard to say how well they did, especially because they had that if you buy the premium access, whatever.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you have
Then
5
you
different
can
launch
play-
dates, it's a little bit difficult.
Yeah, you can play it earlier. Like if you played then, you're not. If you just bought it just to play Anthem, you're not gonna pay another month, probably. So even the one player doesn't mean that he bought the game. And what if? How does that even work? Like even if you're like super hardcore Anthem fan, so you're gonna have to buy the premiere, and then you're gonna have to buy the game, and then probably whatever DLC they release.
I mean,
That's-
and that's something we're never gonna know. Like how EA calculates that. Like a $15 subscription is not a $60 sale. But I mean, and this is the data we're never gonna get because EA knows that data and they're never gonna release it.
Yeah, and if they say like, this is the best title we released since Mass Effect 3, are they calculating like the people who have installed the game?
No, they're talking
Because
about the
then it would-
launch.
Oh,
Now we have to remember what launch means. They sold the most copies at launch since Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 3 came out in 2012. The amount of gamers from that time to this time is already bigger. The player base is already bigger. It's not an achievement to have the best launch since Mass Effect 3.
yeah, and also is it sold copies
That would be cool.
or is it players in game?
I think it's
That
just
also-
I think it's just sold copies.
Yeah, whenever they talk about that, it is just sold copies.
Okay. yeah, 2013 versus 2019. That's a
I mean,
bit.
it's like somebody coming out and saying that we had like the biggest sales since the 1940s. No shit, you have the biggest sales since compared to 1940s, because there's more people now, and like the amount of people playing games rises up every year. Like this has been happening for year after year after year after year. So if you're celebrating something that you are accomplishing now with more people than you had 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years ago, then you're doing it wrong. Let's see, Mass Effect 3 came out in 2012, yeah. So it's really not, I think, personally, I don't think it's nothing to hang in the Christmas tree.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. It just sounds good on paper.
Oh yeah, it sounds good.
I don't think about it.
You just don't think about it.
But yeah, so too long didn't read is Epic bad, Steam good. That's what, at least that's what Reddit tells you, and Twitter. Honestly, I think that what will happen here in the next year is the amount of exclusive deals will go down. People will still play the games, they will still buy the games. I don't think a shift in sales is going to be that huge that what people portray or want to happen. And I think every game that has an exclusive deal, they will get a huge sales surge once the game comes to Steam.
I want to play with a thought here. How do you think that Epic is gonna make something similar what Origin has, like Origin Access?
Well, let's look at the roadmap.
We don't have to guess. They gave us a map.
Yeah, but that's only for the next 6 months, right?
Well, shit, if it's not on the roadmap, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, if it's not on the map, we ain't going there, bud.
Yeah, man.
But I feel like if they can achieve that, they have like a certain amount of games, they can do like, I don't know, pay us $5 a month and you can play whatever you want. Like that seems something that they should do.
Yeah, sure they're gonna do it. Why not? I mean, if there's an audience for that, if they see an increase in sales, if they do that, then they will do that.
Imagine if Steam had that. Pay us $10 a month and you can play every single game on Steam.
Yeah, I think Steam's problem is that Steam has a very varied user base. There's people who only play Dota, and then there's people who buy Counter-Strike Source or CSGO, I mean, Global Offensive, for like 5 times for some godforsaken reason. Because they want to play in different ranked groups. And then there's people who just buy every game, like me, like an idiot. And then there's people who buy those shitty ass greenlight games, so they can flip those trading cards and make a buck. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm like, why don't you
like 2,000 games on their Steam library and
have only played like 10 of them?
Yeah.
I got this great deal, you guys. It only cost me 90 cents. Well, how good is the game? I'm never gonna play it, but I have it.
I save it for a rainy day.
Yeah, man, that's what I do. Okay, I think we're gonna stop here.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Let's do shoutouts.
Yes,
Well, okay, fuck it. My name is Tumalo. Twitch.tv/Tumalo. I play games now and then. I haven't streamed in a while because I've been working a lot. And yeah, next we're probably gonna play Days Gone, I think. No, Katana Zero comes out. I'm gonna play that. I'm not gonna stream Weedcraft because people are angry at that, and I might get banned if I play Weedcraft because it's in a really weird spot right now where Facebook and YouTube are actively fucking content creators over because the game is about growing weed. And apparently that's the work of Satan.
Gateway to heroin right there.
Yeah, gateway to heroin. Holy shit.
Shame.
I have already had 2 heroin during this podcast because I played Weedcraft.
Dang. Well, that's a pretty low number, but I believe in you. You'll get that up to 4, maybe 5 heroin one day.
Yeah. Until I get to my sweet 16 amount. 16 heroines per day.
That's when you ascend.
Yeah,
You
man.
just ascend to a higher plane of existence.
Yeah.
I'll go next, I guess. I am Gratigy. I play variety stuff. I've been playing Sekiro because I'm a sheep. Just like everybody else. I do play a lot of Final Fantasy, and I play just random stuff. So if you like my face and those games, watch my channel. Whatever.
Twitch.tv/Trevor the Miracle. I'm a variety gamer, and I haven't streamed in a while because I've been busy. But I think the last game I was playing, other than Sekiro, was like BioShock, I think. I don't remember. But anyway, I play random stuff, so come check me out.
Yep, I'm North. I play variety mostly, and I also want to shout out my dude Purpose Plays. Go check him out. He plays Darkest Dungeon, Subnautica, XCOM 2, a lot of cool games. Yesterday I watched him play some weird dice game that reminded me of Slay the Spire, and I think he's an awesome dude and worthy of your check out. Go check it out. And yeah, I played Sekiro quite a lot. Streamed it. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna be able to stream, but hopefully I can play some Risk of Rain, maybe with some of the buddies here. Yeah,
I need to get Risk of Rain 2. Is it really that good?
It's pretty good.
it's okay. You can easily sink a lot of hours. Like I checked today, and it had 11 hours. I think I played it like once or twice.
Yeah. I would say on a normal run, you're going to probably put an hour in before once you kind of get used to the game, you'll probably put an hour in before you die.
It's a good game,
At least.
but it needs a little more content.
Yeah, I also noticed it already has a little bit more content what I expected. Like before you, Trevor, left today, I found items that I have never seen before.
Oh, really? Oh, sweet.
And like you noticed, it's a little bit harder right now.
So yeah, here's there's Discord and Twitter for me. I mean, the Discord is my Discord. It's our team Discord for No Pants Society. And Twitter is my own personal, and there's my personal thoughts, even though I don't post stupid shit anymore there. I should probably do my shitty poetry tweets again. Those were a lot of fun.
Join the Discord and send me your best memes.
Yeah, we got Nort's Meme Dream channel there, and Nort posts a lot of memes there.
Yeah.
Anyone watching on YouTube will not see any of these links because we're using Twitch chat. So head over to twitch.tv/Tumalo to catch this shit live once a month. Next month at some later date. We have to like decide first. We don't have a schedule because I'm impossible to work with. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. 2 hours and 50 minutes. Yeah, for real. See you, dudes. And
See you guys.
next time. See you.